Welcome to the Greater Culture Podcast, where movement, mindset, and mastery meet. Join us as we explore the art of living fully with expert guests and real-life stories to inspire your journey. And welcome to our Greater Culture Chats episode here. A little change of pace from some of our typical longer format podcasts. The goal for these is going to be taking topics that are meaningful or relevant, things that I'm passionate about, things I love sharing, and turn them into bite-sized pieces of information that are digestible and things that you can take with you to improve your overall health and wellness. And so for those of you who may not know, my name is Brad Marshall, the owner of Greater Culture CrossFit, also someone who's been incredibly passionate about human performance over the last decade plus, and the foundation for what got me really excited about human performance is this whole idea of sports psychology and understanding how do people operate at their best regardless of the situation or the environment they find themselves in. So that is at the foundation of a lot of the studying and experiences I've had over the years. And so for the first topic, we're going to go with Mindset 101. This is a topic that I think is thrown around a lot today. A lot of folks in the space who've done incredible research, who have studied the topic, have tried to figure out ways to help people have better conversations with themselves. We're going to take the approach of the why, the what, and now the what now. And within this bite-sized piece, hope you can get a little bit better understanding of why it might be meaningful or important to work on your mindset, what we're actually talking about when it comes to this concept, and then what you can do with it. And so with that, let's take a look at why mindset might be important. There's a quote here from Lao Tzu. I've always really appreciated and loved this quote, and it kind of builds from this foundation of why the way we talk to ourselves can make such a huge difference or impact in the way we actually show up and the way we make decisions that push us in a certain direction. So the quote here says, "Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. Watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character, it becomes your destiny." As we kick off the new year, so many people start to think about making changes or how things might be different or how things could be better or how I keep a good thing going. And all of these different ideas, all of these different concepts, they all start with just that tiny thought, that little bit of mental energy around what could be, maybe what we would love to happen, or trying to talk ourselves into potentially seeing if we can do things maybe a little bit differently. And what I love about this is that it's an internal process, starts with those thoughts, and then it usually manifests itself by having a conversation with somebody. I really need to figure out my sleep schedule. I really want to get to the gym. I really need to lose 10, 15 pounds. I really want to be more active. And all of a sudden, this thought that was brewing in our head has now made its way out into the world in the words we say. And this is where a lot of times the next leap from words to actions can become really, really difficult. But we're going to start with just that initial thought, the mindset, the conversation that's unfolding in your head about whatever the situation is. So if we start looking at what mindset is, we start looking at it from a few different lenses. If you simply go to the dictionary, the definition that they're going to give you is a mental attitude or inclination. Now, that can be a little bit vague. We understand it's occurring up in our brain and our mind is coming up with some different concepts. It's sort of like a general way that we might orient ourselves. If we look at the actual book titled Mindset by Carol Dweck, where she proposes this idea that we have certain beliefs, we have certain views about ourselves that can help push us in a direction that can lead us to be more successful, she would say that mindset is a self-perception or a self-theory that people hold about themselves. It's really what's the conversation like that's unfolding and the beliefs you hold about yourself. If we look at what I've come to understand over the years, it's simply a patterned way of thinking that is based on beliefs. We have these underlying beliefs that we have accumulated over the years from experiences, from people around us, from the environments we've grew up in, from all of the situations that we've come face to face with. These have all created these deeper held beliefs that then manifest themselves with how we think, eventually how we start to speak, how we act, and how we conduct ourselves. So if we look at mindset, I think in its simplest form, it's simply what's the conversation like that's going on in your head. And if we can look at mindset through that lens of what are the words I'm using, what's the language like that I'm using to convey certain ideas and messages built on these beliefs, it starts to give us a better idea of what are we actually trying to work on. Well, we're trying to work on not only the words we're using, the language that we're using in our head, we're also trying to work on some of those beliefs. Because if we want to change the way we think about something, if we want to change the way we think about ourselves or change the way we think about movement, nutrition, recovery, etc., then it's going to have to take some initial work to understand what are those beliefs that are underneath all of those different thoughts and conversations. So if we look at it through that lens of it's simply a conversation, the language we're using to talk to ourselves based on some of our beliefs, we're going to jump into what do we do with that? Mindset 101. That's the way I talk to myself. There's some beliefs there. What do I do with that information? And at its core, if we're interested in working on our mindset, the first step is to get to know your beliefs and your mindset. Get to know and understand and be aware of the language you're using to talk to yourself. Get to understand some of those deeply held beliefs you might have about yourself, about others, about situations, about your skill sets and your capabilities. You have to be comfortable with getting quiet. And that's why there's 3 tips we've got for you here to help start that process of working on your mindset. The first one, spend some time alone. We try so hard, myself included, to inundate ourselves with information, podcasts, shows, conversations, hanging out with people. We constantly are trying to distract ourselves from spending time in our own head in a quiet place. So when it comes to understanding your own mindset, understanding the beliefs you have, you're going to have to spend some time alone because you have to get acquainted with who you are. Which leads us to point number 2, get quiet and start to listen. A lot of times when we find ourselves in an environment where we're alone, we want to shut our brains off. We want things to be quiet. We want things to be just very relaxed and peaceful. And when these conversations start unfolding in our head about who we are at work, the jobs we have, who we are amongst our friends, am I good enough? All of these different conversations start to pop up, and it can be uncomfortable. Things we don't want to come face to face with. The encouragement here is get quiet instead of worrying about the phone, the TV, talking to other people. Allow yourself to just listen. Be an observer and be present for what those conversations are like that are unfolding in your head. And then the last one here, we've got this idea of write, contemplate, or understand how you operate. There's a couple different practices people will encourage when it comes to this idea of spending time alone with yourself and getting to understand how you think and what the beliefs are you hold. Some turn to mindfulness or meditation, where either through a guided practice or simply sitting and being, you're present with the thoughts, the emotions, some of these conversations that are unfolding, and it allows you to be present with them. Some people prefer journaling and having an opportunity to write down some of these thoughts, these ideas, these beliefs that they're exploring, and gives them a better understanding of this is what it actually looks like. Regardless of whether you like to write it down, whether you like to simply think about it, be contemplative, explore and be curious about the way you think, about the beliefs you hold, and how those are impacting or maybe even manifesting the way you talk to yourself, the way you talk to others, and how some of those actions start to unfold. So we're not even going to worry about how do we change or adapt our beliefs or our mindset. We simply want to explore what are the beliefs, what is the mindset I have around these topics. So if you find yourself interested in making a change in your career, in your parenting, in your relationships, in your fitness, there's going to be some beliefs that are underlying all of those different thoughts and ideas and perspectives you have. Exploring those beliefs, understanding the conversation you're having with yourself, gives us the gateway now to have some fun and to really think about building a mindset that allows us to achieve what we'd like. So for our first Greater Culture Chats episode, this is Brad Marshall. This has been Mindset 101. Look forward to tuning in for future episodes. We're going to continue having this exploration in this short form format on topics that are meaningful and relevant to live the life you'd like and be a little bit happier and a little bit more fulfilled. So we'll see you all on the next episode.